history syllabus, and this is a civics chapter that we will do. The name of the chapter is Rural Local Self-Government. Before beginning with the concept of rural local self-government, let us first find out what is a government. What is a government? In any country, we find that there is a government or there is a body of people who are, or a group of people who are responsible for looking after the people of the country. That group of people is called the government. What is the work of the government? It takes decisions regarding the state. It provides different kinds of facilities for the people. It looks after the welfare of the people. So that group of people that runs the administration, that looks after the people of the country, make laws, takes decisions, gives different kinds of facilities like free medical facilities or educational facilities to the poor people of the country. That group of people is called the government. And we find that every country in the world, it has a government of its own. In India, the government that we have is called a democratic government. The government that we find in United Kingdom is called a constitutional monarchy. So it is a kind of a system that is responsible for running the administration. Now, if we come to India, we see that there are three levels of government. What are the three levels of government? We find the union or the central government, we find the state government, and we find the local self-government. These are the three levels of government that is responsible for looking after the welfare of the people living in India. Now, what are these three levels? Let us first find out. The first level is the union, or which is also known as the central government. The union government is responsible, or it makes laws for the whole country. That is, the laws that the union government makes, it is meant for all the people living in India. It is for all the whole of the country. The second level that we have is the state government. That is, in each and every state of India, we find that there is a government or a group of people who is responsible for looking after that particular state. And what is the work of the government? It makes laws and takes decision only for that state. It cannot take decision for another state, because every state in India has its own government, and the government of that particular state is responsible for making laws for the people of that particular state and taking decisions for the welfare of the people living in that state. So that is the state government. Next we have the local self-government. The local self-government, it functions at the local levels. That is, it serves the people, or it looks after the people living in the cities, towns and villages. So this is the system. So local self-government is looking after the people who are living in cities, in towns and in villages. The state government is managing everything within that particular state, that is all the cities, all the towns and villages within that state. And the union or the central government is looking after all the states in India. So that is how the government in India functions. And when we are talking about local self-government, we find that the local self-government can be divided into two parts: the rural local self-government and the urban local self-government. The rural local self-government is responsible for looking after the people who live in the villages. That is called the rural local self-government. The local self-government that is responsible for looking after the people living in the towns and cities, that is called the urban local self-government. The word urban itself means towns and cities, whereas rural means the villages. So what we see, that there are three levels of government: union government, state government, local self-government. Local self-government can be divided into rural local self-government and urban local self-government. The local self-government that looks after the people living in the villages is called the rural local self-government, and the local self-government that is responsible for the people living in the towns and cities is called the urban local self-government. So we now know that India has a democratic government and this is how it functions. Now we will take up the different levels under the rural local self-government and the urban local self-government. When we look at rural local self-government, we see that there is the panchayat. The local self-government that we find in the villages is also called the panchayat. The panchayat consists of the Gram Sabha, the Gram Panchayat and the Nyaya Panchayat. Then we have the Block Samiti or the Panchayat Samiti and the Zilla Parishad or the District Board. So those are the levels of the panchayat system or the rural local self-government. What we see, we have the panchayat that is looking after the villages. We have the block samiti or the panchayat samiti that is looking after the various blocks present, and the Zilla Parishad or the district board is responsible for looking after the different districts in a state. So that is how the rural local self-government functions. Next, we will take up the urban local self-government that we find in the towns and cities. Now, in the towns and cities, we find the municipal corporations, we find the cantonment boards and the improvement trust. So, that is the part of the urban local self-government. But this chapter is about the rural local self-government. That is, we will learn about the local self-government that we find in the villages. So, we will take up first the Panchayati Raj, the rural local self-government that we find in India in the villages is also called the Panchayati Raj. And this is a system that is the vision of Mahatma Gandhi. He is the father of the nation, and it was his vision or his what we can say, his idea that the government, that the local self-government at the villages should be in this form so that the villages are self-sufficient, the people living in the villages, they can take care of themselves, and that is how the democratic system will run in India. And we find that the Panchayati Raj, it is a three-tier system. What does the word three-tier means? That there are three levels of the Panchayat system that we find here. And what are the three levels? The three levels are the Panchayat, then we have the Panchayat Samiti or the Block Samiti, and then we have the Zilla Parishad. So this is the three-tier Panchayat system, which is, the Panchayat system is said to be at the grassroots level. It solves the problems of the people living in the villages. It takes care of their welfare of the people living in the towns and villages, and also the people can participate in the government through the Panchayat system. So what we have learned today, we have today learned about the form of what is a government, the form of government that we find in India, the three levels of the government, and we will concentrate on the rural local self-government that we find and the villages, which is also known as the Panchayati Raj or the Panchayat system. The Panchayati Raj system is a three-tier system, that is, it is having three levels and it functions at the villages. The vision, this Panchayati Raj system was the vision of our father of the nation, that is Mahatma Gandhi. And following his vision, we have developed a three-tier Panchayati system in India. Its main focus is to look after the welfare of the people living in the villages, to make them self-sufficient and also help them to participate in the democratic process or to participate in the government. So for now, we will keep up to this much. In our next video, we will take up the next portion of this chapter. Thank you.